Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. You're watching 284 Media. Thank you so much for your time. Journey to Elections 2023. Today we are joined by Mitsy Ellis Simpson, who is an independent at-large candidate in the upcoming general elections. You're watching Just for the Record. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
There are many ways to enjoy life. Like so many ways to count on popular.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Again, you're watching 284 Media, and I'm Ron Grant. Joining me today is Mrs. Mitsy Ellis Simpson, who is an independent at-large candidate in the 2023 general elections. Mrs. Ellis Simpson, thank you for your time, and welcome to our platform.
Thank you so much, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here.
Indeed. Journey to Elections, as we mentioned, 2023. You have put your hat in the ring, seeking higher office. For the persons who don't know who Mitsy Ellis Simpson is, of course, we've heard the name, but who is Mrs. Ellis Simpson?
Well, as you mentioned, I am running as an independent territorial at-large candidate in the next general election. I am somebody who was brought up in the Virgin Islands. Just so you know, I was born in Jamaica, but I came here from a young adolescent age. I've went partially through primary school here and also to the BVI High School. I've also attended the HLSCC and also doing my bachelor's through Joplin, Missouri Southern State University, and I've also done my master's degree in finance through the City University of Hong Kong, where I spent 4 years working and studying. And I've also done my master's degree in applied economics through Southern New Hampshire State University.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about your professional background. What would essentially qualify you based on your professional background, to seek higher office?
Yes, so I've been working in the financial services industry, for a very long time. I've worked as a corporate trust officer. I've worked also as a trust administrator in the financial services industry. Now, I do have my own company now, which I do business consulting through MJS and Associates. In terms of business consulting, we do corporate governance, research and analytics, and just general, company management, as well. I've also worked as a financial consultant, as I said, in Hong Kong, and also I've worked in the real estate field as well. So pretty much I am an all-around entrepreneur, and also the fact that I also have a degree in applied economics, I have been also, working in that area in terms of research and analytics. So by profession, you could consider myself also as an economist.
All right.
Yes.
Now you are vying as an independent candidate. We would recognize your name or have remembered your name associated with the Virgin Islands Party. Meaning that this is not the first time you have sought to run with that particular party. Last election, when it came to the Congress and the voting process, your name was mentioned as one of the front runners. You did not run with that party, or you weren't selected in that instance. And then this time around again, your name was called, but you weren't selected. Now you have been very public as to your thoughts on the voting and vetting process within the Virgin Islands Party. Tell me about your thoughts in regards to that.
Yes, so back in 2018, 2019, I did try to run with the party. That was unsuccessful, but after I did not get through, there were a pool of at-large candidates that tried to run. I was one of them that was not successful. But after that, the party did ask me to stay on, and during that process, they've asked me to head up their economic review committee, which I did, and also within that particular position, I'm the one who actually spearheaded the party's manifesto with a team of members from the Congress, and of course that was the winning manifesto during the 2019 election. Leading up to this election process, this nomination process, of course, I have to go through the same nomination process. I have mentioned that I feel the process is unfair, but it's not something that I really, want to dwell on, because, for instance, from the time Mrs. Flax Charles, left that night, if I could recall, I was to be nominated from the floor, and something happened where that was postponed. There was another situation where another meeting was called for nomination again, and again that was postponed. And then there was a third time, which with this one, and you see the news in terms of how that happened, with the breaking news, suddenly there was another person coming forward. But not to dwell on that too much, I have gone through a process of, and I want to say wordplay as well, because one of the issues that were there was in terms of, whether I should run with the party based on my eligibility, whether, I was born in the Virgin Islands, and, it's like I go into the party and I am about unity. I'm about uniting the country, so I don't see black and white in that sense. This is Mitsy, go straight in the heart of the party, working together, and I want to be treated, equally, and I did mention even before the nomination night, and even from 2019, this is something that I mentioned, how are we addressing this, situation here? We have to let the public know, or let the Congress know, you understand, this is the law of the Virgin Islands, in terms of, eligibility. I am eligible, I am qualified, to run. And this is something, not to, have, for instance, like the Congress, persons thinking that is she or is she not, you understand? We have to be very clear with the laws in the Virgin Islands, right? So, again, one thing I didn't mention, I am also an internal auditor, with certification through the British Institutes in London. And I do review systems, processes, quality management systems. And of course, me observing, and seeing the process of everything that I've gone through. We're not just talking about what happened on nomination night, right? But the entire process, I think it's fair to say that instead of sitting down and not giving the public a chance to have a pool of candidates that they feel that can take the country forward, it would be very wrongful for me. So I come forward to the people, for them to see what I am all about, so I can also get a fair chance. At the night of nomination, just to mention, I was asked, if I would like to be the vice president of the party, and I also said no. So this is not a situation of my ability, because as I mentioned, they did make me the head of the Economic Review Committee during that process in the 2019 election. Coming forward, after I was unsuccessful at the nomination process, I was asked about the vice president position, and I said no, because I would like to assess where I'm at, what I'm doing, give myself a fair chance and the public a fair chance as well.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that you put that into perspective for us, and I have to ask you, because there are misconceptions, and I'm happy that you stated, based on the Constitution, of course, nomination day will happen, so the public will be able to see you being nominated. But there are persons, and I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, do you think the actions by the Virgin Islands Party plays into the narrative where some persons within the community are saying that you're not eligible to run, or perhaps you should not run for public office because you were born in Jamaica?
Stay tuned for more Just for the Record right after this.
Yo, everything good there?
Aye. This thing got me one way, daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you,
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my city life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I even watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
Do you think the actions by the Virgin Islands Party plays into the narrative where some persons within the community are saying that you're not eligible to run, or perhaps you should not run for public office because you were born in Jamaica?
Well, just let us clear up the Constitution a little bit, right? There was the 1976 Constitution, you know, before the 2007
Yes.
Constitution became in existence. What the 1976 Constitution says, you know, if you are deemed to belong to the territory, you're the age of 21 and you're a registered voter, you're qualified to run for election, so to speak, you know, in those. And then the 2007 Constitution, you know, if you were deemed qualified prior to 2007,
yes.
you know, your rights are not eroded.
Correct.
You know, so based on that, you know, I've been a belonger of these Virgin Islands from in the 1980s, you know, from I'm a child, you know, so that's not an issue as to whether I am eligible to run. The Constitution gives me the right to run, and pretty much, you know, I am put in a position to face this type of situation because I'm in the political arena. You know, I'm a part of this country. I'm a fabric of this country. You know, I was educated here. My teachers are here. My pastors are here. Everything that I know is in the Virgin Islands. You know, I am developed here. And, you know, if the Virgin Islands have given me, something, you know, I want to be able to give back. What I've been doing with my life, I've done quite a lot of community services. You know, I was the president of the Lions Club at one point when I was much younger. You know, I've been in Girls Brigade. I'm currently a Rotarian. You know, within the last 2.5 years, I've formed in my community the Brady God Fat Hogs Bay Community Group, and we have been working hard in terms of keeping the environment clean, you know, and of course advocating for better roads, street lights, and recycling, and so many different things. So in terms of Mitsy, this is what Mitsy is. You know, Mitsy embodies humanitarian service, helping in whatever way I can.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I have to ask you though, what is it, or what would have attracted you to the Virgin Islands Party in wanting to be a part of not only the movement, the party, but to be aligned with the ticket? What is it about the Virgin Islands Party?
Hurricane Irma, you know, and Hurricane Maria, because after those hurricanes, you know, of course, you know, the other NDP was actually the party that was in office at the time, and pretty much I did not like what I was seeing on the ground. You know, people were pretty much trying to survive in terms of the level of service, you know, the people were getting, you understand? I thought it was very slow, it was lagging, you know, and those things propel me because, you know, I mean, as a humanitarian, I would have gone around underground and see what is happening, help where I can help, you know. And even before that, of course, I did write my book, The Economic, Secret Code, an economic history book on the Virgin Islands. So in terms of, you know, trying to see how much more I can do for the country. It has been a process coming forward, but this was propelled by the hurricanes, you know. And of course, I did, you know, speak with the Virgin Islands Party, and I became a part of the team, you know, going through their nomination process and just making up my mind to stay with them after I was asked to head up that particular committee.
Understood.
And so I think what I'm saying to you is that I'm about trying to make systems work, make processes work, where I see if we need to make changes, of course I would put that forward to you. But if you don't want to change, you understand, that's another ball game we're talking about. So my idea is to really unite and not to divide. And
thank you.
Yes.
Within the past 4 years, let's take a look at quite a bit has transpired within the territory. I think persons would admit that the past 4 years perhaps were some of the most difficult. You think of the pandemic, you think of the arrest of our former premier, you think of the looming possibility of the suspension of the Constitution as a result of the COI. I want to ask you to pinpoint and think, is there one piece of legislation or bill that was passed within the last 4 years that you did not or do not agree with?
The one that comes off my head right now, it's I guess people call it the greedy bill.
Okay.
In terms of that.
That's the nickname, yeah.
Yes, and the reason why I mentioned that, because in terms of my platform, one of my platform is to really look at the social protection system in the Virgin Islands, how we are helping people. Remember that within the last few years we have gone through a couple crises, medical crisis, and of course the hurricane shocks, right? What we should be looking at is how vulnerable people, you understand, how did they survive, you understand? What is, in terms of our cost of living, what have we done in terms of our cost of living, how are we helping people with job loss, and just check to see as well, minimum wage as well. How is that working out for people with the high cost of living in the Virgin Islands? So I mentioned the quote-unquote greedy bill. You're going into something like this, into an arena to solve the people, right? We want to be able to take the people up off the ground, right? There's approximately 22% of the population right now that you could consider living below the average cost of living. That is a reality. Minimum wage is $6, right? You go in the supermarket, you can't buy a decent meal. So what I would like to see is for us to review the cost of living in the Virgin Islands, put in measurements to help our people, right? In terms of me being on the ground campaigning and understanding more of the issues on the ground, a lot of our young people need help. We see the situations in the high school, in terms of, kids bringing in weapons and, you start hearing about edibles, drugs, and these kind of things. Yesterday, my understanding on Sports Day, you have, 2 young kids having, intercourse, These are the things that we should be looking at. How well are we helping single parents? What prevention measures we have in the schools? And I feel as if, we need to create perhaps another unit or something in the education system. Perhaps one, we might call it maybe a department or a unit of socialization and reform, because we are a small territory, right? Our main high school, which is the Elmo Stout, everybody, so many people have their kids going to that school, but we want to be able to catch all those kids and ensure that, they get a fighting chance, a good chance coming out in the society to be the best they can be. So I would love to see in the education system that we start concentrating on socialization, helping single parents, and just having programs in place that can help the kids, not just while they are in school, but after school activities as well. So those are the things I'm looking at. I don't want to go inside the House of Assembly and help myself. You understand? I want to be able to help the people because, again, I am seeing the issues that are underground, and that's my standpoint.
Understood. I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask you, and you have the ability to say yes or no, or if you want to expound on them, you can. Basically, if and when elected, would you support or would you not support any of the following? Let's start with the legalization or decriminalization of marijuana.
Stay tuned for more Just for the Record right after this.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Today, I am doing coral treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today, we are doing shark research. So today, we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask you, and you have the ability to say yes or no, or if you want to expound on them, you can. Basically, if and when elected, would you support or would you not support any of the following? Let's start with the legalization or decriminalization of marijuana.
Okay. Well, when it comes to marijuana, we do have a lot of our young people around here from time to time, of course, getting themselves in trouble in, smoking marijuana, or they end up getting a criminal record, for marijuana. That is something we have to really look into and study. So when they get themselves a record now and they come back out in society, trying to get a job, they find it difficult. Yesterday, a young man, I stopped and I gave him one of my flyers, and he told me, look, you understand, I have been unemployed for 2 years. You understand? Yes, he had a little issue, you understand, but the society would perhaps maybe reject him, you understand, because when you Google, he has a criminal record. So we have that situation to deal with. So as to whether I would decriminalize marijuana, in terms of medical marijuana, I think it's okay for medical marijuana, you understand, but we have to be very, very careful in terms of how we go through the process of saying you're decriminalizing this thing, for recreational purpose, I don't agree with it for recreational purpose, but for medical purpose, you understand,
Okay.
I can see where we can do something there.
The legalization of parimutuel betting.
Parimutuel betting. That is something that I would have to review. You understand? I would like to review that a little bit more to see where I would want to go with that. In the Virgin Islands, I think betting, betting is gambling. Let's put it that way. Is illegal.
It is
It's
illegal.
illegal.
And it however,
yes.
still takes place.
It still takes place, So that is something that we have to assess. And, some of these things that we would have to put forward to the people and see how they feel about it.
Okay.
Yes.
The legalization of same-sex marriage.
Well,
or what some would call same-sex unions.
Same-sex union. Okay. Well, I have my personal views about that. From the biblical standpoint, I would stand by the biblical standpoint for that, because we are a Christian society. Something like that, I would like for us to have perhaps a referendum in the future, although we don't have a referendum act, and it's something that we need to really look at as well. The Virgin Islands should have a referendum act, where we can take these things, to the public, and see how they feel about that, right? So from the biblical standpoint, I am not for it, but in terms of, what the general public think, and don't forget we live in a democratic society, and it's all about voting and how the public feels about it. I would like to have a debate on that.
Okay, and finally, the legalization of abortion.
Legalization, that is a very touchy topic as well. Of course, somebody can be conceived for ill reasons as well. It could be a situation where, the person got raped, or it could be medical or whatever, To decide what a female should do with her body, it's always a challenging topic, So that's a situation I would like for each person to have the ability to decide as to what they want to do with their body.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Mitsy, you are one of the record, our record presently shows that you are one of 16 women, female candidates, running for election in various capacities. There have been a lot of talk about female leadership, and clearly by the numbers we see this being as one of the elections where the most women have been running for candidacy. I want to talk about that for a second. The time and the space. What do you say about the persons who still feel that in some cases women, based on their thought process and their decision-making process, are whether or not strong enough, perhaps too emotional when it comes to leadership? What are your thoughts on women leadership and the misconceptions that perhaps we are not at a point where we need a female, for example, premier?
Oh no. Women we have to be very, very strong in our communities, We are the backbone of families. We have a deep understanding of things that are happening on the ground, Yes, we're compassionate, we're emotional, we're caring, and, we're kind, right? So in terms of the issues that I've spoken about, similar to, helping the youths, helping with social protection, fighting poverty, helping with job loss. I feel like women can connect, with these type of issues, right? So we should not be excluded by no means, I feel like we have a great understanding. And don't forget that we're mothers, we're wives, So, yes, I'm happy to see so many women coming forward, to actually solve.
All right. And just a few lighter questions I have to ask you. What is your favorite Virgin Islands cuisine?
Oh boy. Of course, I like fish and fungi. I like fish in mayonnaise sauce very much, but can I give you two?
Sure.
I also like pea soup.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Milk and sugar or no?
Milk and sugar, definitely.
All right. What is or do you have a favorite sister island?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite sister island because they're all unique, very, very much so unique. I love to go to Anegada. I love Anegada for their sea grapes, as well. That is really, really good. I love driving through Anegada as well. I love going over to Virgin Gorda. I love going to the baths and just driving. I'm just the type of person, I could just drive.
Okay.
I could just drive. And I love going to Just Van Dyke as well, and of course I love Tortola.
All right.
So I wouldn't, classify that I do have a favorite.
Okay. Do you have a favorite local rum or beverage? It doesn't have to be alcoholic.
Well, I did drink a lot of guava berry during the Christmas season.
So that would be one of your favorite?
I love guava berry.
All right. Yes, and finally, if you could take someone from Virgin Islands yesteryear, just simply means that they're no longer with us, who would that person be and why?
If I would like to take somebody from
Virgin Islands yesteryear, they're no longer with us. It could be personal, professional, it could be political. Someone who may have made an impact on your life from the Virgin Islands in any way, who's not here. If you could take them to lunch or dinner, who would it be and why?
Somebody who has made an impact on my life. You know what? I would actually say Mr. Elmo Stout, because as a young child, growing up in the high school, he was a disciplinarian. He was very firm, and he was respected, I would not dare go up to Elmo, or if Elmo speak to me, I say, Elmo, Mr. Stout, you understand? I wouldn't dare call him Elmo either, and be, disrespectful, And he has always said to his students, can all you can, while you can, you know.
Well, thankfully, Mr.
Yes.
Stout is still with us. So
Yes. He's
you
still with us?
Yes, he is. So you still have the option of taking him to lunch or dinner, all right?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis Simpson, I want to thank you first of all for the conversation, and by extension, thank you for exercising your democratic right and seeking higher office within the House of Assembly of the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you very much.
Viewers, that's all the time we have. As mentioned, you've been watching Just for the Record. Today, we were joined by Mrs. Mitsy Ellis Simpson, an independent at-large candidate in the upcoming 2023 general elections. I'm Ron Grant. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're
impacting
feeling
me.
it.
Lonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.